What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got a special client interview today with my guy, Connor. Connor's been in the program for the last few months and he's had a ton of success, but don't want to steal your thunder, Connor. Connor, why don't you go ahead? Give us a quick introduction on you, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, Nick. So I do probably what I would consider the most niche thing in your program, and that was one of my things that was kind of holding me back was viewing it as a niche as opposed to this thing that could actually take me to this next level of what I wanted my business to be. So, quick background on me, I had three elbow surgeries in high school that pretty much ended my career by the time I was 18. And my identical twin brother did not have those problems. He was a perfect game All-American, played at the University of Missouri, and then was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. And I was pretty much looking for an answer for why my elbow gave out on me, and my brother achieved everything that we both kind I dreamed of. And that led to me resenting baseball and not wanting to be around it at all. And finally, COVID hit and went and lived at Mizzou with my brother and got back into baseball from just being around all those guys. And through his agent, I got an internship in Dallas. And the guy who ran that gym does posture therapy with MLB players. And I was like, posture therapy? Like, what's this? That sounds dumb, but okay. Well, I was playing catch with a guy who was coming back from TJ at Baylor, and I kept having this zinging nerve pain in my hand. And he's like, "All right, come over here with me." Did three exercises, less than 5 minutes. I threw a baseball pain free for the first time since I was like 15. I was like, "What the fuck did you just do to me?" Like, no chiropractor, no PT, no exercise from YouTube has ever done that. And you had me do three things that look basic beyond basic, and that worked. Like, why? And pretty much that experience just kind of like sparked my interest in like what is posture, why is it working, and why does it help elite athletes move better, throw harder, and with less pain. And pretty much from there I was hooked.
Sweet. Sweet. Yeah, I know you have a pretty remarkable story, and I think that's something that I've noticed of people that have a lot of success is they have a really strong why, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I guess, why don't we take a little bit of a step back to where you were at when, like maybe even when we first met, before you even joined the program, before it was like actually like a serious thing.
So you're talking like first steps of me starting my business before I started working with you.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of walk me through like where you're at.
So I was working in California, in San Diego at a posture therapy clinic, and I was making 40K to work there. I really enjoyed what I did, but I couldn't financially support myself being there. So I decided that after a year of being there that I was going to move closer to home. And I knew that I wanted to do remote stuff just because I wanted to work with athletes. That's really what I wanted to specialize in rather than geriatric population of chronic pain. And I was like, I need to go somewhere where I know people because I was in California where I didn't know anybody. And all of my roommates from school are from the suburbs of Chicago, and they all moved to the city. It's like I'll move where I know people. So I moved to Chicago, started doing my own thing. And I think like there were certain days of the week where I just would wake up and do nothing. I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything. And I just like kind of hindered my own growth. I was like trying to get in to this youth organizations like population of their baseball players because I also coach for a youth team. I was like, oh, this is going to be like a huge market for me. No. Started trying to like make Instagram videos that were absolutely terrible. And then through one of my brother's roommates at school, he was friends with you growing up, and he introduced me to you and asked you a few questions, gave me some help, put me in the right direction. I'm like, I need to join this program. And then it came down to, I don't know if this is the right time for me to join the program. I've got all these other things going on. And it's like, hit me up in 2 weeks. Boom, hit me up in 2 weeks. I was like, yep, run my car. Let's do this. Like I'm ready to actually change the way that I do my business. And it is by far the best decision that I've made, like post college.
That's fucking awesome to hear, bro. Yeah, I know when you first hit me up, um when you first hit me up, I was like, okay, like I think I can help this guy, but like he seems like he's got a lot going on, you know? So I guess maybe kind of tell me more about what we really needed to work on. Like, what do you think were the biggest things that like you needed help with coming in?
So biggest thing, like glaring issue that I remember is my content was not good, and there was no hook to it. It was just me getting on a camera and talking about posture, and nobody understanding like what they're looking at, why is this going to benefit me, any of this types of stuff. And I wasn't having any Instagram conversations with people. I wasn't messaging people who followed me. I wasn't like doing any of these just very basic things to build and gain clients through nurturing them. And on top of that, I was charging such a low price. I'm like, oh, if I've got this great product, I know it works. If people like, I can service people, like just come in the door, pay me, and I'll get some client testimonials, pump those out, and then it'll blow. And no, could not have been any more wrong. Um, so like first steps when I joined with you is just like figure out like what are you trying to say in this video? Because I would just get on, press play, talk about a concept, and then say something and be like, that's terrible, cut it, restart the entire video, cut it again. And it was just like 2 hours for a 30-second video. It's like, okay, this is not sustainable. And as dumb as it sounds, just write a script, like say it line by line. Who cares if you edit it out instead of saying it in one flowy thing? Because you got to cut out the dead time anyways. So just cut down the process of how to think about how to make content, how to not necessarily like step by step of how to edit it, but what is the flow and structure of this need to look like to sell somebody on what your product is going to do for them, not, hey, here's my product, it's so shiny, buy it from me. And once I started to do that, it completely changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you've spent a lot of time working on your content, especially working with Matt too. I know you like showed up to all the content calls. What specifically do you feel like is maybe the biggest thing that you learned about your content to, really kind of take it off?
So I think it started with understanding who am I trying to go after? Because when I first started making content, I was just speaking to any and every athlete. Like, while I wanted to work with baseball players, I was just like, if you're an athlete and you've got this problem, do this. And they're getting like 200 views. Granted, I had like 50 followers, so not great anyways to start off. But just figuring out like, well, if you want to work with baseball players and 80% of the people that you're working with are pitchers, dude, just market to pitchers. Like go after who is already your existing client as opposed to trying to diversify and take in more avenues to get there. Just there's a billion, not a billion literally, but there's like a billion pitchers in the world that you could talk to, as opposed to trying to say, hey, if you're a hockey player, do this. If you're a basketball player, let's do this. And just like knowing who I'm trying to talk to and then talking about those specific problems. But I think the biggest thing, stepping away from Instagram was YouTube and creating a VSL of, hey, this is my program. This is what I do. And an extended look where I need more than 30 seconds to explain to you what this, to explain what posture therapy is in a sense where you actually understand it. I can tell you that you need to get your body into an alignment, but like, what does that actually mean? I can't tell you that in 30 seconds, but watch this 12-minute video and it'll explain everything that you need to know. And boom, instantly the first month that I put out a VSL, I made over 10K. And now I've done back-to-back over 10K months and just excited for what's going to happen next. But as far as like specific content, figuring out how to hook, because I was just like, hey, knee pain, boom. I was like, no, okay. If you don't captivate them in 3 seconds, it doesn't matter how much value and information is on the back end of this video because nobody's going to watch it. You have to have some way to bring somebody in to want to watch the rest of the video.
Definitely. Yeah, I think you've done a really good job of like creating content. And I think when people are first exposed to a video sales letter too, totally changes your life.
Mhm.
Right? Maybe if you want to talk more like tactically, like kind of what your video sales letter is and why you feel like it's so helpful.
Yeah. So in the video sales letter, I pretty much go through and I say, um, if you're experiencing X, Y, and Z problem and you've tried this and it hasn't worked for you, stick around for the rest of the video because I'm going to explain why this is going to work. And then I pretty much cut right into who I am and what I do. Because like you were talking about, like I have a really compelling why and a great story for what drove me into this line of work. And I feel like if you don't know that about me going into working with me, you're going to be way less likely to want to join the program because in that video, you get a pretty good idea of who I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and a couple client testimonials in there talking about the amount of value and effort that I put into caring for the athlete that I'm working with. Because it's not just, hey, I'm trying to help you eliminate your back pain. Like, no, I want you to make it to the league for you and for me. Like that would be sick, because if you achieve a dream that I always wanted to achieve, and this is how I can get my piece into helping you achieve what you wanted to achieve, like that is worth it to me. So like the value behind posture in there is like, if I say you need good posture, like what does that mean? So start with, this is what good posture is. This is how it's working. This is what we need to do. Your mobility and stability joints are doing X, Y, and Z. And if they're doing this, then it's compromising this and causing that and all this other sorts of stuff. So people can start to connect the dots for themselves in terms of, well, I have this problem, I have this problem, and PT is only addressing this problem, but it's not thinking about this thing that's also contributing to this. And it's just more of a holistic type approach to true problem solving, as opposed to saying, hey, this hurts, don't poke it. Well, what's causing that to hurt? And when you figure that out, everything else changes around it.
Yeah. No, I think it's so vital that like what I've noticed that like number one, you're actually like good at what you do. Number two, you really, really care about helping as many people as possible. And then number three, that you have the want to improve. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So maybe tell me a little bit more about like the experience actually kind of going through the program and getting that message out there where it's like obviously like what you do is very, very in depth and can be complex.
Mhm.
So maybe talk a little bit more about that, about like your experiences trying to explain more in depth, like a complex thing to baseball players.
Yeah, that was something where I really struggled, because when I would first talk to people, I'd be like, check out all of this cool shit that I know. It's like they don't care. It's what can this do for me? Not how much do you know, but like what is you knowing this going to provide to me? And I think analogies are a really good way. And that honestly started from my first conversation with you, after I joined the program, is like, you have to find a way to dumb this down. Because if you're going to take a calculus approach in talking to fifth graders, you're not going to get anybody to pay you. And that's what the VSL is for, is if you want to bring in this broader, in-depth conversation, take it to this where you have more time to explain it. But you have to find a way to shorten in length and in depth what you're talking about. And I think that's where talking about the overall goal of, hey, this person wants this outcome. Why is posture going to help them get this outcome? Not, hey, by getting your body in this alignment, you'll be able to do this to get to the outcome. Like, cut out the middleman. You get the alignment, you're going to get your outcome through this method that is my program.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. And I think a lot of people out there, particularly like skill-based sports, whether it be like golf, tennis, or even baseball, like they have a difficult time seeing how they can like convey their message and help people through like complex solutions, if you will.
Mhm.
Like, what would you say to people like that maybe you're watching right now, where they're like, oh, I don't know if I can communicate through the camera to somebody else?
Well, you're not going to be able to unless you try it. First and foremost, if you don't do it, you're not going to get better at it. I mean, go watch the first couple videos on my Instagram. I still got them up. They're terrible. Not in the stuff that I say in them, but just the overall camera presence, the conviction behind what I'm saying. It's not there, and it's not going to come there unless you do it. But I think as far as like a more niche type thing, is if, like, stop looking at it like it's niche. I mean, it separates you and differentiates you from everybody else in the market. Like, if you're a hitting coach and you have this approach and nobody else is doing that approach, that doesn't make you niche. That makes you different, and that's what you need to capitalize on. That was my biggest thing as I came into this program, and I'm like, well, I'm in this community with sports coaches. Like, I'm kind of a sports coach, but I'm not really a sports coach. Like, do these things really apply to me? And yes, they do. Um, you just have to find a way to talk to a 5-year-old, sit down, write a script. What's the concept that I want to explain, no matter how in depth it is? how can I dumb this down for a 5-year-old to understand it? Whether it's your niece, nephew, or like your worst athlete, how can you dumb it down for this one person to understand and then just market that? Because if you get somebody to understand the 5-year-old concept, you can start to build on that. But if you're explaining calculus and they can't even understand what 1, 2, 3 is, you've already lost them for what your service is going to provide to them.
Yeah. No, I think that's spot on, dude. That's spot on. Like being able to explain things, complex problems in a simple, easy to understand way. I think like something that I see is like a lot of people feel like it's like a skill that people are born with, and then it's not something that you have to practice.
You have to
You know?
practice it.
Yeah. Yeah, just like everything else. I think like I'll say this, dude, from my perspective, I think the reason why you've had success is because you've really been like you've taken the beginner's mentality to it of like, look, like I need help, I need to learn how to do it, but you've always known that it was possible, right? And I think that's the biggest separator, not only in my program, but in life. So what do you have to say about that? Just the fact that like look, like I'm not trying to bullshit anybody. Like this shit is hard, you know? Like what do you have to say to that kind of like line of thinking?
I think you got to look at it as another sport. Um, because if you were on a sports field or practice field, whatever you want to call it, and you were really as good as you think you were, looking back on it, you were outworking everybody else on that field. And if you're not willing to take that same mentality and skill set and do a different line of work, then what are you doing? And that's any line of work, whether you want to be an accountant or you want to do physical therapy. Like if you're not going to do it to the full best of your ability, why are you doing it? Um, and you're right. Like the work that is in the course is not easy by any means. You have to sit down and think about what you want out of life, and not only what do I want out of this program, what do I want for time and financial freedom? Is that 10K a month? Is that 20K a month? Like what does that take? How many hours is that going to cost me? Like these are all questions that you have to answer that you probably haven't thought about. Or if you have thought about them, they just become so overwhelming and you can't have a coherent guide as to what you need to do. Like the first thing that I told you when I finally got on a call with you was like, I do really well with a structured plan. I just need to know what to do and then I will do it. And literally everything in that course module is mapped out. Watch this video, fill out this question, watch this video, fill out this question. Awesome. Let's have a conversation about what you're struggling with. What do we need to capitalize more on and get like an idea of what this program is? Because like I didn't do 10K in my first 3 months in the program. Did 15K in my fourth month though. I went from 4K to 15K because I ran the plays and I finally doubled my price, like Nick was telling me to do from the entire time around, and just looked at it as like, if I'm going to provide this much value to somebody, I am worth X amount of dollars, not, hey, I have this great product, but I want to get people in the door. So I'm going to sell it for this so that more people come in. Wrong. The moment I doubled my price, I had less people say no and I made more money. So it really boils down to like the approach and the mindset that you're bringing into it. And until you shift your mindset about what is possible for you or your business, it's not going to change. Because like last time we were talking about this, I told you like I knew fully starting this business that I could do $250,000 in a year by myself. I had no idea how the hell to get there, but now I have a much clearer roadmap of how to get there. Not quite to a 250,000 on pace, but like did let's see, like what I did in the last 6 months is what I've done in the last 6 weeks. Like that's how fast it has grown for me to the point where now I have a whole new set of problems of now I need to hire a team and I need to do all these other things. And I was like, I can't even afford to hire a team. And Nick's like, what are your numbers? I'm like, what numbers? Like, you don't know your numbers? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. No. He's like, dude, you understand how bad that is, right? I'm like, yeah, kind of. Sent me over a spreadsheet, started knowing my numbers. Instantly, things start to skyrocket because you make decisions based off of facts, not off of emotions. And there's so many, like, I could say like 90 different things here, but like, there's so many things in the course that put you in the right direction. But you have to be willing to sit there and have an uncomfortable conversation of, I have no idea what to do, and then be willing to ask somebody what to do because there's plenty of people in this community that want to help you.
Yeah. No, I think that's perfect. And like so many good things you just said there. I think first thing I want to touch on is first, 3 months in the program, you didn't hit your first 10K month, right? You were kind of like trugging along, like figuring it out, and then all of a sudden, like switch flipped. And you know what that switch was? Your mind. There was no change in your daily like activity, let's say. It was a switch in your mindset. And
No,
I think that
absolutely.
is, go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying 100% you're right. Yeah, I just had to change the mindset. Like nothing about what I was doing on a day-to-day basis of making a video or editing the video changed. It was you have to frame this problem differently or it's not going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What for somebody that's on the fence right now, watching all my videos, concerned that, oh my God, this isn't real. Is this actually too good to be true? I get all of it, dude. What would you say to those people?
I mean, I definitely get some of those questions as well, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, if you're on the fence, I think you just have to like literally watch every single one of these testimonial videos, and no one in here is going to tell you that this dude is a scammer. Nothing in this man's bone will allow him to scam you. The only person that you're scamming is yourself by not doing the work that he laid out for you. If you don't get the result from the program, it's because you didn't do the work. And whether I know he has the balls to say it to your face, but I mean, I'll say it to you right here. If you're not going to do the work, don't join the program. But if you want to actually change your life, not in like, hey, I want to make 10K a month. No, you want to change your life, make more than 10K, have more time on your hands, help more athletes, then this is what you have to do. You have to get with the times. This isn't 1980 anymore. You're not training people one-on-one in a cage, charging $75 an hour or half hour and living the life that you want to live. It's just not going to happen. You have to adapt with the times and you have to use the internet to do these different things to gain all these other platitudes in your life that you ultimately want. So if you aren't willing to do those things to change your situation, then this isn't for you. But if you actually want to change your situation and have the conversations and take in the knowledge to change it, then 100% this program is for you. He's not going to scam you. Like nothing in this man's bone will allow him to scam you. He's going to do every single thing that he possibly can to make sure that you do the work. But if you don't do the work, then you're not going to get the result.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, dude. It's like I think something we've really been trying to push on our end is like, look, this isn't easy. It's not a get rich quick scheme.
Mhm.
It's not, it's not going to be a snap of the fingers and it's going to take time. It may take you longer than the initial 90 days to hit your goals. It may do that. Like, you know what I mean? It may take you 12 months. But if it takes you 12 months with our guidance, it was going to take you 36, 48, or even a lifetime on your own.
Dude, I don't even know where I would be right now if I hadn't joined. Like, so this is my 13th month of business. And I think it was like month. I think I joined in like April or May. And leading up to that, I was just like, I've got this $250,000 business. I feel like I'm doing all these right things and blah, blah, blah. And nothing's materializing. I'm not like I'm essentially breaking even. Like I can make enough money to be able to live and like go out to the bar on a Saturday, but like I'm not living. Like I'm working to be able to do this. And that's exactly why I wanted to get out of California is I was working for a check for this amount of time. Not, hey, I'm providing X amount of value to you and it costs me this amount of time. So now that I have time to actually go enjoy these other things in my life and bring in like an uplifted energy and thought process to what I'm doing, then I'm just slaving away at my computer trying to do these things. And that's what it was. And bro, like last I was driving down the street and it was like after I had a 7K week, and I was like, damn, that tree looks a little greener right now. I was like, dude, life is so much sweeter right now because I took the steps and did the things to put myself in the situation that I said that I wanted to be in. And I just needed a structured plan, and Nick's program is that plan.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting chills thinking about that because like you've really put in the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think it just goes to show, like, dude, you teach like a very niche, very specific type of person to get a very specific outcome. And like it's proof, dude. And like your whole life is different. Your whole perspective on life is different. You know, and to me that's really what matters. Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like, dude, making money is good, right? Don't get me wrong, making money is good, but I think the reason why anybody gets into something like this, whether it be coaching coaches or coaching athletes or whatever it is, it's because we want to make a change, you know? So like
Mhm.
to me, I think that's more than anything else is like making an impact in somebody's life. So I just want to say I appreciate you. Is there is there anything that you want to say to anybody out there about the program? I know we kind of talked all over the place, but
Let's see. I think going back to sort of like the niche coaching market, like if you're somebody who isn't necessarily like more of the standard guy that joins your program in terms of like a hitting or pitching coach, is this program is still 100% for you. The same principles apply to growing an online business, whether you're selling coaching services for one thing or coaching services for another thing. These same principles apply to it. And if you want to do the things that you are telling everybody else, including yourself, that you want to, put your card down, put your money where your mouth is, and change your life and stop bullshitting yourself and wasting your time.
that's fire. That's fire, dude. Because it takes what it takes, you know? And if you say you want these things, you say you want a better life, you say you want to, create something that you're proud of, this is what it is.
Mhm.
So, dude, I appreciate you so much. If somebody wants to see that you're a real ass person, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Instagram. The Instagram username is going to be Posture by Connor. You'll see something with a giant Peyton Manning forehead. Check it out.
We also changed the Instagram name
You
too.
did. You did. I still got to put my profile picture up there. It's still that ugly ass Running Man logo that I've got. I got to change that.
Sweet. Sweet. Well, Connor, dude, I appreciate you doing this with me just like publicly. I really appreciate you and the work you put in and how much you care. And you've done everything that we've asked and more, like to a T. So I think, in my opinion, like that's why you've had success because you've been willing to learn and not come in with like, I'm gonna do everything I can to prove this guy wrong.
That's the worst way to spend your money. Pay for somebody to educate you and think you're going to educate them.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, brother. But
I,
anyway.
oh, I've seen it firsthand.
But anyway, Connor, I appreciate you taking the time. If you're a coach and you want to learn how you can change your life, make more money, more time freedom, see trees a little bit greener, then booking a call with me or my team down below. We'll talk to you, run through your situation. If you're the right fit, then we can get started right there. If you're not the right fit, I'll be 100% honest with you. So I appreciate you guys watching. Connor, thanks for jumping on. We'll catch you.
Absolutely. See you later, Nick.